Hello Stampers, this is Super Awesome Stamper Shirley Merker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wisconsin, USA. You are looking at your bonus card in your November 2022 Kits in the Mailbox. So I featured these cards, and I wanted to include one so you had a sample in front of you when you assembled your kits. But I couldn't include this one as a kit because it contains stamped images, and Stampin' Up! Does not allow us to include stamped images in our kits. So that's why my kits never feature stamped images. But I'm going to show you how to assemble your card base using this card. And then we'll go through what's in your kit and what's in your box and step you through how all the kits should look assembled. All right, so I've got this card base, and all of your card bases are cut to the card base size and scored. The measurements and descriptions for all of the card base pieces and that little white insert are in your tutorial that you got in your email from me. I'll also link them in or add them in the description box below. So you're going to look for this little notch here. So I'm not going to get tripped up by measurements because you've got them in a couple of places. You're going to cut that little notch out. All right. And then this is the top. So the smaller width of the scored mark would be that fold over part. And let's see. I'm just going to start scoring these because I think it's a little easier to cut the scores then. So you're going to cut the smaller side of that notch up to that horizontal score. And it's 3 cuts. All right, and then flip it over. So now I've got my notch in the upper right hand corner. Fold over that little tab and flip that shut. And that's how that card box will be put together. So here's the finished one, and then here's the flattened one. So you kind of want to force those score lines before you grab your adhesive. Now for this little tab, I am going to grab my liquid glue, and that was probably a tad much here. Might squish out there. Take the left side of the card and kind of walk it over to that glue so you get a nice even seal, and then just press down. Open it up and pop it up. You got your box. Now when I was making my samples, I always wanted to form it into a box automatically, and I think that's just it would make a perfect little box, right? That's just because that's what we used to do years ago, was make our own little boxes. All right, so that's the card base. Now for this one, I have one that you decorate the front and the sides. So I would suggest that if you're decorating the sides, decorate it while it's flat. It's a lot easier. That's the front piece. And then my side pieces I've already got done. One says cocktails, one says today's plan, let's consume, and one has the actual cocktail. And you might want that seam in the back of your box. Just be aware of that. On my sample card, I have the seam in the back on the left, but I got a little ahead of myself and started assembling with the seam on the right, on the front. So just be aware of that if that matters to you. And then this one's going to flap down. This pattern paper comes from the Textured Chic Suite. One side was the matte finish, like that, and one side of the pattern paper's got all these foils on the other side. Very pretty, sweet. Okay, now we are going to work on, actually, before I fold that down, if you're adding a back flap, now is a good time to do it so that it is reinforced and you don't try to flap it back just like I did. It's going to be my back piece. Now, this piece I think is a little smaller than what I put in the tutorial. It's just what I had on hand. I'm actually doing this away from my stamp space. So I packed as best I could. All right, now we're going to work on that Z fold. So it's already scored. You're going to, on the left one, fold it on the score line towards away from you, and on the right one, fold that score line towards you. And then this one, you might be tempted to grab your green glue, and maybe when you're done with on your 5th kit, you'll feel a little more confident. But I like to use the tape runner because it gives me a little more time to position it, and I don't get glue on the sides here. So what we are going for is aligning the left side about in the middle on that left panel, looking inside, holding it down, pressing it down with our thumb, seeing if we'd like the position and moving it a little bit. It's just a little bit below the score line. And then this side, we can kind of shut it. Oh, actually, yeah, this side, we can kind of shut it, but make sure it doesn't glue to the front panel. It needs to glue to that side panel. So you want to kind of force it where you want it. It should be straight across. There. You're going to have to kind of play with it to figure out what is best suits how you can get that Z fold in there. All right, and then the rest of it was just me decorating. So I've already got all this cut. Thing to note, if you decide to do these little pop-ups like my sample card, you're going to put adhesive different spots on this little tab. So adhesive on the back side there, but adhesive on opposite sides is what I'm saying. Adhesive went here on the DSP and adhesive went underneath and between the cardstock for that one. So cookies I put over here. Now if you do opt to do pop-outs, you're going to have to make sure that they don't pop out beyond the bounds of your card, because this fits in, the white envelopes are provided. But if your pop-outs pop out beyond this area, it's not going to fit in your envelope. Of course, if you hand deliver it, you can make them as tall as you want. Now for the back one, I need to put adhesive on that back piece. Again, making sure I don't go beyond the bounds of the cardstock. And this front one, we're not going to waste this little piece. I'm going to use it for my pop-out for the coffee. So front side of the cardstock there. This one actually has both sides. Both kind of adhesive pieces are on the front. The two in the back, they're opposite sides of the pattern paper. There, so that's how I assembled that one. Neat, right? I just wanted you to have this one. A lot of fussy cutting for me, but I'd really like this stamp set and I'd like to share it, so that's why I decided to do it. Should we do another one, or should I run through what we did? How about I do another one? Just because I want to put that seam in the back side. All right, so again, I'm going to cut off this. I won't fully assemble. I will just show you this assembling of the box. Cut that off and save that for my coffee pop-up. And then this seam's going to go over here. You can even grab your bone folder. And again, I find it a little easier to cut these if they're scored. The glue, a little less this time. I had a little much when I started it. There. Walk it over from the left to the right with your fingers, preferably. Kind of hold that tab down. So hold the tab down so the glue doesn't smear, and then just press down. All you need is a few seconds. Now hold it up, flip it around, and put your tab to the back side if that seam bothers you on the front. And then let's do this again. Left side to the back, away from you, right side towards you. A little bit of tape runner on both tabs. And then left side away from you into the box. I kind of bend this. Let's bend that down so I can see what we're doing. About in the center on the side panel, just below where it bends down. You can kind of eyeball it and press down. And then you can kind of shut it. Just making sure, see, kind of popped up a little bit, use your hand and kind of force it to where you want it, making sure it catches on that side panel and not the front panel. There. So that's how you assemble all your boxes. And I'm not going to show assemble an additional sweets one with you. I'm going to swipe these away and I'm going to show you and talk you through the card pieces that you have in your kits. All right, so here are the 5 cards you will be making in your kit. And I'll kind of step you through each one. So go ahead and grab your box. Pull these out of the way. I'm also going to try to do this in one take in case I want to upload it to YouTube. I don't have my editing software with me. So open up your box, and you notice you'll have more in your box than what you're actually going to use in your kit. These little sprigs were a bonus item. Since I was using the UPS flat rate box, I decided to include those as well. You have more of those little brads as well. Everybody got a bonus 3D retired item, so yours may be different from that one. Just set that aside, and with your all of your extras, you should be able to decorate that box. All right, and then there's your bonus card from me. And let's talk about the pattern paper that's on the bottom. I included more than what you will actually use to decorate your card. So for this one, you're going to use 2 images, but it looks like this kit got 4 complete ones. So you'll have enough to make another card. This one, you got 4 trees and then more woodland animals than what you'll decorate on your card. So again, more items than what you'll actually use. This card with the jolly, fun snow peeps in the train cart, or the train, I'm going to say carousel. The train wagon. There are only 4 of those per DSP sheet, so I had to be economical in what I gave you. So I had to cut it down, give you extra one, so for the back one, and then you've got your 2 trees right there. But in addition, I also included this piece as well in your kit. So that I didn't use anywhere in your sample card. All right, the pumpkin one. You all got 6 pumpkins at least. You also got a piece of this acorn, black and white acorn print and the yellow print, and some gourds. So you will have a gourd / pumpkin patch. I realized I didn't have enough pumpkins to include all of these pumpkins in your kit. This side one down here would have been like the edge. So if you got an edge, that is what I put right there. You know, if you've got a side one that's got an edge, I would use those on the side of your card. And then, of course, you can cut all those gourds and include the gourds in there. The last one is the flowers. So this was a pattern paper pack that had, it was a 12 by 12. It was like this. So it had a couple more sections. I tried to make sure everybody got this full flower. I'm sorry if you missed it or got something else, but I did give you 2 sections of that pattern paper, so you have more flowers than what you'll use in your card. All right, and then, should we just go through real quick? You will have in your kit, tucked in your envelopes. Did you see where I pulled that out? I did not find this Poppy Parade piece of cardstock in my stash until after I prepped all the kits and stuffed them in boxes. But instead, when I was prepping kits, let me pull this one out. I included a black piece of cardstock somewhere. Oh, I think I put the black piece of cardstock in with this one. So yes, black piece of cardstock went in with the pumpkin one. This Poppy Parade one, here is the pieces for your little pop-up. I only popped up this one, and I decided instead of cutting it into a little strip, I gave you a chunk of cardstock that you can cut down. Or use that for something else and go into your scrap bin and just pop it up with a piece of white strip. These cards are great for using up your strips because you can use them to pop things up. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all the kit contents. I would just suggest that you dump everything out over your table and not your lap because things might fall out. Okay, now let me look before I sign off. I'll do a few more in-depth things here. So for this card with the fall flowers, I left the stems on some of these, and those are going to be the pop-up. So be aware of that when you're cutting those down. And these back here I didn't pop up at all. For this Forest Friends ones, I didn't add any sticks. I just popped up the animals. Again, you got to make sure that they don't go beyond the bounds of the card, so that kind of worked really well. Same with the trees. I did not pop those up. I just added them without a stick. That's what's on the back of that one. Sweet little fox. The Jolly Snow Peeps. Got a piece of this white frayed ribbon for you. I included 2 of these strips of the shaded spruce and white. I also included this ho ho ho, so you've got a couple of different options for that card. And then the last one I think I talked about. You have 2 of these pieces, and that makes like the North Pole arrow, and that is stamping. Those are little stamping pieces, so I couldn't include that. I can't include the 2 from any of the sentiments. I could not include. They all came from one stamp set. Let me grab that for you. Okay, I can't seem to find the stamp set, and then stamp set name is not coming to me, but it's all one stamp set. And I'll put a link in the video description box below, but it'll also be linked in the, listed in that tutorial that I emailed to you as well. All right, so I hope you enjoy creating your kits. Send me a comment if you've got questions about how to assemble. Hopefully the tutorial and then this little mini assembly video will help you assemble your kits. Have a great day, and we'll stamp with you soon. Bye.